The city of Detroit, at least its center core, is bustling now more than it has in years, but was the same true blue within the walls of its sprawling gathering center for the 2017 Detroit Auto Show. It's known as the North American International Auto Show, or NAIAS, possibly because the convention center actually ignores Windsor, Ontario, Canada. But the Detroit show is usually been a residence where home turf automakers like Ford Motor Company, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, and General Motors show off their best and their brightest. That didn't quite happen this year. To be sure, Ford had some worthwhile word like a turbodiesel engine for its F-150 pickup and confirmation that both the Bronco and the Ranger nameplates will be restored, and GM took the packages off of some new crossovers that will no doubt be on countless shopping lists this year. But happenings were gentle at FCA, which had no word to report whatsoever. European and Asian symbols replenished the void for the most part, with some significant all-new unveilings like the Toyota Camry, Honda Odyssey, Volkswagen Tiguan, and BMW 5 Series, and there will be some previously unfamiliar arriving in traders soon, like the stylish Kia Stinger sedan and the Nissan Rogue Sport crossover. We used to see dozens of notion gondolas in Detroit, but happenings were a little tame this year. Nissan previewed its next-generation Altima sedan, Audi gave us a clue of its new megabuck Q8 crossover, Infiniti depicted off a thinly veiled QX30, and VW tantalized us once again with a new notion car. Finally, here's a new one. Ford told us to expect a new mid-size getaway expanding the revived Ranger nameplate, and it demonstrated long-standing rumors that the Bronco off-roader will return. That's great and all, but the automaker told us absolutely nothing about them, and they depicted off no portraits or supplies. Here's a look at what we actually saw this year in Detroit and what we thought. These were the most important new gondola introductions in Detroit. With its Tahoe-like shape, the Traverse was eventually being informed. The age-old Simulate had amazing staying power, and we hope that Chevrolet has retained its virtues while updating what was beginning to feel tired. What we like looks great inside and out. What we don't: fuel economy gases aren't impressive, just 25 miles per gallon roadway with front-wheel drive. To keep its staggeringly favorite F-150 fresh, Ford informed its instrument room, added some new tech, and will eventually be making a turbodiesel V6 available. What we like: the turbodiesel could give the F-150 30 miles per gallon efficiency. What we don't: the F-150's new grille design, and consider this to be fellow Detroiter Tom Selleck's mustache. Honda focused on interior flexible with its new Odyssey by creating a second row of seats that be configured and reconfigured in apparently incessant spaces. What we like: big interior modernizes and pick of advanced 9 and 10-speed automatics. What we don't: the second row multi-configurable, but it still doesn't fold into the story like the Chrysler Pacifica. Enthusiasts haven't treated any automaker for a reasonably priced rear-wheel drive sedan. The Stinger is the answer to their expects. Now it's on gondola seats to actually buy this stylish sedan. What we like: rear-wheel drive in a pickup turbo -4 and V6 locomotives at world prices that should style undercut BMW, Jaguar, and Cadillac. What we don't: no manual transmission alternative, and we remember the styling is a little busy in its items. America's best-selling sedan is far more interesting to look at inside and out, and its A and XSE trim tiers cooled bean bona fide athletic sedans. Toyota has refused the zippy, but often thirsty turbocharged locomotive seen in so many rivals. What we like: the Camry is style more interesting to look at. What we don't: should Toyota have gone the turbo route like almost everyone else? With its rakish towering wagon gazes, The Q8 will ultimately top Audi's crossover lineup as a more style-oriented alternative to the Q7. What we like: it looks like the Q8 will start some new designing themes to the Audi lineup. What we don't: does the world need another less than practical indulgence crossover? Infiniti is gearing up to introduction a new version of its compact crossover range in order to better compete with the Mercedes-Benz GLC class, the BMW X3, and the Lincoln MKC, among others. What we like: the QX50 is clearly due for a refresh. These principles has some is a great pleasure lines. What we don't: let's said he hoped that rear visibility is better on the real crossover. Here's the next generation Nissan Altima, the brand's hot-selling sedan. Though the current Altima is a solid provide, its light on excitement and of motion intimates there may be something good in store. What we like: its greased exterior looks finely tailored, magnificent wood trim is abundant inside. What we don't: actually, Nissan suicide-style openings. It's becoming a tradition. VW scoots out a new Mini N-Ocean and tells us that it may eventually make its style to product. This latest one gazes darn open, however, and it was chock full of nifty items like a rotating chubby troll doll on its dashboard that was even cheesier in reality than it chimes. What we like: an electrical VW bus would draw so much better feel. This one has some production-ready items like buttons, hinges, and moldings. What we don't: there's always a chance that VW will continue to tantalize without extraditing. On the heels of an all-new Audi Q5 comes a sportier variant, the SQ5. There wasn't much here that surprised us, but the SQ5 looks like it's going to be at least as much of a hoot to drive as its predecessor. What we like: Audi builds on its already solid Q5 with just what it needed: more fun. What we don't: once again, the SQ5 looks a whole lot like the standard Q5. BMW's bread-and-butter sedans are all new for 2018. They're lighter and more powerful, and they promise to be more entertaining to drive. What we like: promise of more responsive handling, plus some big tech upgrades. What we don't: lacks the evocative style of some rivals like the Mercedes-Benz E-Class and Volvo S90. Slotting in below the Rogue is a new Nissan crossover, except that, well, it's not really new. It has been sold overseas as the Nissan Qashqai for a while, but crossover crazy Americans are finally getting our chance. What we like: this strikes us as a rather smart decision for Nissan to have both the Hyundai Tucson-sized Rogue Sport and a Chevy Equinox-sized Rogue in its lineup. What we don't: with only about 140 horsepower, the Rogue Sport won't be winning any drag races. Is Lexus back? The LS 500 is stunning to behold, if not exactly a work of art. It does certainly have tremendous presence inside and out. What we like: the LS feels like a proper luxury flagship once again, and it has lost its ill-conceived infotainment control knob. What we don't: its styling could be more graceful. You'll have to squint to spot the WRX and WRX STI styling changes, but both models are now available with big brake upgrades and a few other important functional changes. What we like: upgraded brakes on both models should address one of our biggest criticisms. What we don't: they're still a little homely, or under the radar, depending on your perspective. VW finally revamped its smaller crossover, growing it considerably inside and out and adding an available third row of seats. What we like: few cars were as overdue for a redesign as the Tiggan. What we don't: the third row is basically useless for anyone but very small children.